Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. The friends of Ellice, we just are so grateful to see so many of you come out. I know she was so angry at this. No fuss, nothing. She can't help it. So many of us love her. And we just can't help ourselves. So we had to gather and share some memories. We'd love to hear some of your memories. I know it's always hard to get going, and a couple of you just start coming up and just share a story, a memory, a wish. We've been sharing what we like from her, including some of her creativity. She was amazing. I had the privilege of working with her for over 15 years, and my life was better because of it. And for now, that's all I can say.
So please come on up and share some things with us and just love each other and grieve together. And that's what we're here for this evening.
Come on.
I know it could be kind of scary to come up and talk in front of a big group of people. So, being that I'm one of the newbies, one of the strangers to this place, I'll start it off. So, I was kind of thinking about her today, and I was thinking about how we were kind of similar in ways. She was in that classroom for about 15 years, from what I understand, and I was at my own place for about 15 years before I decided to start a new journey myself. And I had never taught before. I had quit my full-time job to go into teaching because I wanted to start a new path in my career. And when I had my interview, it was like a whirlwind effect where I went through school, I went through a job fair, I was pulled in by Mr. Parsons, like, you teach art, come in and see me. And so a week or two later, I had an interview with them, and there was Ellice sitting there with Parson and Ward Whaley and I believe one or two other people, I can't remember at this point, but they introduced me to her on who she was, and I knew right then that if the person is there, that I am to fill their shoes, that is a very important moment. Because I have been in that position where I have had to interview people to fill either my position or others. And when that person is standing there or sitting there and they are looking to see if you're that person that's going to take their place, it is a very important thing. So when I was hired, they told me 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes later that I was hired. I'm like, oh my goodness. How blessed I am, how quickly this has happened for me to go from one job and I got hired within a year with this place, and I just felt so blessed. And me and her started emailing each other, and she made sure I had everything that I needed. If you need help with this, let me know. If you need help with that. She says, I have boxes of things if you want these things. I have boxes of clothing, and I have boxes of books and a curriculum and all these things, because I hadn't a clue. Being a brand new teacher, I had no clue what was going on. And so I was just talking about one of my memories of her. I was going through her classroom, which is now my classroom, so it's very strange, like this happening, and here I am in her room, And when I first got here and I started going through some of these closets and everything of things that she had where, okay, what can I use for this? What can I use for that? And it was kind of a stressful time to start this new career, right? And then I run into this one cabinet and I see a couple like little containers, and I open up this container. I'm like, what is this? And suddenly I see marbles. And on top of the marbles is this note that says, well, you found them. So So that I kept that box exactly where it is, where I found it. So that way, whenever I have one of those situations and I think about her, it's like, thank you for this opportunity and thank you for everything that you've given me. I think about that box of marbles when I was going crazy that first few weeks. And I think about her. It's like, well, you found him. Your marbles are right here whenever you have that moment. So anyway, I just want to say that I thank her for this job. I thank everybody that's part of it. And I thank for giving me this classroom and this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Linda Brady. Can you hear me? I was a very good friend of Ellice, and I was with her in her last days. Took her to emergency on Sunday, and 2 weeks later, she's gone. When she decided to leave this world, she took my hand, and she says, "I'm good. It's all good," she said. And I said, "Is there anything you want me to share with anyone?" And she said, "Just tell everybody I love them." She went out peacefully, and she was very, very brave. She was diagnosed in August, as most of you probably know. It was hard pulling information out of her all these months. But when I took her to emergency on May 5th, she never left the hospital, went into hospice, and a couple of days later, she was gone. So thank you for being her friends, and I'm certainly going to miss her.
Hello, can you hear me? Yeah. My name is Adrienne Martin and Adrienne Fatel, depending on when you were here at Hanford West. I met Ellice Blevins in my early days at Hanford West. We even went to a wine and chocolate event together. But I didn't stay as intimately close to Ellice as, a wine and chocolate event as the years passed. But I wanted to speak about her on behalf of a particular student I had. I taught ELD for 10 years, which services students that are typically new to this country. And I had a particular student who immigrated from Mexico who didn't have it easy. Who her life in Mexico was a really hard life. And she didn't have a voice. And she wasn't appreciated. And she came to Hanford West, and she was different than the rest of my students, the rest of my ELD girls. Her hair was spiky, and called her rockera. She was different than the rest of my other ELD girls. And over time, I found out she was an amazing artist. She had this amazing spatial talent. And before that girl could speak English, Ellice Blevins gave her a voice in art. And she mentored her, and she worked with her, and she was patient with her, and she helped her showcase her art. And her art is still on that building. And unfortunately, that girl's life hasn't taken always the best turns, and she's not around anymore, and I don't even know where she is to tell her that Ellice is gone. But Ellice has done 100 things in this community, right? More than we can all name. So I just want to tell you that she gave voice to the voiceless. And this is the perfect place for us to meet because she put so much of her time and talent in this place. So bless Ellice Blevins.
She never, ever told me that I could not do anything in my life. She was so amazing, and she cared for so many people. Even if you had no idea who she was, she would stop you in the hallway and ask you, "How are you doing? How is your day? What can I do to make your day better?" I remember there was a time it was a football game, one of our football games this past season. I was on the track doing whatever I was doing, and I walked over because again, I think I got a glass of water, and Miss Blevins was there sitting on the golf cart, and she came up and told me, "Noah, you are amazing. You are going to go out in this world and do amazing things, and I hope you never, ever let anybody tell you different." And I had no idea who Miss Blevins was. I had never met her before. I only saw her driving around on the golf cart. She loved her golf cart. She loved the white golf cart with the SP on it. She loved that thing, and she drove it around like she's been at Sierra Pacific for 10 years. And she gave me a hug, and I look at her, and I'm just like, thank you. That I really needed that today. That day had not gone my way, but that moment sparked my day, and it made it 10 times better. And that's what I loved about her. She made a difference in so many people's lives. And I'm so honored that I got to know her. I got to speak on her behalf at the Guns N' Hoses game at Sierra Pacific this past year. And just how much the community loved her, how much she did not care what she was going through, but she always had a smile on her face. She never let anything bring that smile off her face. She was always smiling, she was always happy, and she cared for so many people. And that's what I loved about her. I can say that this district was a much better place because she worked here and she got to interact with so many amazing students. And I can say that in the year I got to know her, she truly changed my life forever. And I would truly miss her so much.
Jill, you're going to have to help me a little bit with this. My memory's not very good. My name is David De Silva. I see some faces here, but for a lot of you young kids in here, if I can share something with you, like many of you, I just saw Ellice just a couple weeks ago. Saw her at Walmart. We caught up on some things. Just bumped into her, and our girls grew up. Her daughter, my daughter, and Jill's daughter was in the same class, Pioneer. So I know Ellice from 15 some odd or more years ago. But I want to share something with all of you if you don't know an Ellice from the past. Ellice is a girl that came from a small town from Arkansas. She worked very, very, very hard to get her education in Arkansas. She was an adopted child. She yearned to know her real mom and dad. That meant a lot to her, and she never could. She was an only child. And that Holy Spirit that she has perhaps reflects on some of you. She was a curator and very talented. She worked in an art museum in Arkansas when she got her degree. Her and her husband came to the little town of Hanford, and he worked for the county. And like everyone else, she had her challenges. Went through a difficult divorce. She survived. She was on her own. Ellice is probably one of the individuals, and I've taught tens of thousands of people, and I've been taught for nearly 40 years, and she's one of these rare jewels that is an incredible survivor. So when I sit here and I hear about people saying she could walk up to anyone and say, you can make it, you can be a star, you can shine, is because a part of her reflected herself on someone that needed help. Because she'd been there and done that. She was that adopted child. She was that person that didn't really have a family and only has a daughter, and went through a divorce and was alone and bought a home and tried to survive and built a life on her own. She was so tickled pink when she got her master's in fine arts. She told me about that. And when she taught at a local college here, helping adults get their higher education. And the last thing she told me at Walmart, I'm going to fight this. So if any of you folks ever feel that you have a challenge, if life is difficult, you keep on fighting. Because it's those wonderful spirits like Ellice Blevins that stays with us and brought us here today. And if you think that you've got challenges and you've got struggles, and yes, this community has suffered a lot. We have suffered so much. How many people we've lost this past year? From the DeRuyters, the Cool Wines, the lawyers, the Mike Myers, it just came, the Mike Robinsons, the Ellice Blevins. But we're a close community. We care. We're here. We need to continue to share this love and remember these beautiful people, because they were able to be in our lives for a short period of time and shine upon us. And I hope that we can do the same to others. That's just my personal reflection. I'm not someone that has it all figured out. I'm still trying to work on my message. But anyway, I wanted to share that on behalf of Asia. What a beautiful girl. And if you guys ever see her, give her all the strength and support that you can, because she's an only child trying to finish college. And she needs this community to surround and support her, because her dad has passed away, her mom's passed away, and she's 23 years old.
Hello, my name is Rhonda Smith. I'm a math teacher here at Hanford West for 21 years and swim coach and the former girls water polo coach. And I was Asia's coach for swimming and water polo for 4 years each, and Ellice was one of our best friends. We always called her, we made her an honorary math teacher. We would have our math teacher meetings, which were our math teaching group. We're a pretty close-knit group, and we like to hang out and stuff together. And we'd always invite Ellice because, she was one of our closest friends. And we said, well, we'll just pretend you're a math teacher. You can come hang out with us. And she always did. And she was just such a beautiful person. This is really hard, and I know that we're all grieving, but she's just such a beautiful person, inside and out, and just so graceful. We just talked about earlier, like, what would we want from her? Like, if we could have anything she had, and she just had it all. She was just a beautiful person, and it's so nice to see all of you here to support her, and Asia will need everyone's help for sure. So my memories and all that stuff is just kind of all a big fuzzy mess right now. But I just wanted to speak and say thank you for all being here. So thank you.
Hi, y'all. Did I turn it off? Oh, no. Okay. Hi, I'm Nye. We're up here because Miss Blevins was really important to us. She was like our substitute mother when we were here at school. She, partially because we were all very, very close to Asia. And I can't pinpoint a single memory like that stood out, but all I know is just constantly just the banter and the chatter, and just if you needed something, if you just needed a quick pep talk, if you needed someone to just tell you to stop messing around and get your work done, and like, girl, get your head together, you want to go to college or not? It was, you could always just count on her. And she didn't just raise Asia, an incredibly intelligent, smart woman who graduated from UCLA, who got her master's degree at 22. She pseudo-raised us as well, who are also very strong and successful women because of her.
Hi guys, my name is Megan Shakespeare, and as Nye said, we're up here because in high school it was us three and Asia that spent most of our time together, and a lot of that was around Miss Blevins, whether it was at her house or in her classroom or during our various meetings when she took on the task of being the advisor of the class of 2014, which I think anyone who's been an advisor knows that was not an easy task. Especially planning proms and formals and dealing with different presidents, and but she did it all gracefully and with so much strength, and she, I think we could all say, really balances being a strong woman but also being very kind at the same time, and has the most empathetic heart. And I think the best thing that I want to highlight about her is just the relationship she had with her daughter was like nothing I've ever seen, and it's incomparable, the bond that her and Asia had. And so we're up here kind of as representatives of Asia tonight, just wanting to remind everyone of the strong mother-daughter bond that they've had, and just to hold on to that because it's something that we all should try to replicate.
Hi everyone, my name's Hannah Pacini, and I, like Megan and Naila, want to just say how much of an honor and a pleasure it was of knowing Ellice and being her student and being one of Asia's dearest friends, as all three of us are. And I just want to say that she was the most beautiful, strongest, and kindest person I knew, and she was a warrior. We all know that. And so we can definitely, she taught and influenced all of us in some way and touched us all in her own way. And to just know her was an honor and a privilege. So thank you guys for all being here, because seeing you all here to just rejoice with the beautiful life she had is fantastic, and it's amazing. And so thank you all for being here, and we love Asia, we love Miss Ellice.
Hello, everybody. My name is Luis Angel. I graduated from Hanford West about 10 years ago. Our class reunion's actually this year. I was back here when Bobby Peters was our principal, man. It was crazy, man. I met Miss Blevins when I was 14, man. I'm about to be 28 this year. And I came dressed in this attire, man, because everybody got some regular job, man. When I get home, I might clock out at work. But when I'm feeling down, depressed, or just motivated or anything, I clock in and I start drawing. That's the one thing that I never realized, that she had an impact in my life. I've had her all 4 years when I was in high school. She was the first person that ever believed I could do anything with my art. And it's not easy, coming to school sometimes and having a long day. 7th period was my Art 2 class. And that was the only class that I knew I was always looking forward to, man. And I remember she's the type of teacher that stays after school sometimes, man. And she would always tell me, hey, you're gonna have to talk to me one of these days when we get out of school. And she laid out all my artwork in front of me from the last that whole year. And she asked me, what do you want to do with your life? And I just told her, I was like, I don't know, I just come in here and I draw. It's my getaway. And she showed me a lot more, man, of what I can actually do, my potential that I could hold with it. Been drawing since I was 5 years old. My parents would always see it, my brother, everybody, my family would see it, and they'd say, oh, that's cool, all this and that. But I never realized what I could really do with it and what I can amount to do with it. And I'm still doing my best right now. I mean, working 50 hours a week sometimes, and then still having the motivation to go back home and still draw. Like I always told everybody, I'm gonna get this badass like drawing desk and everything, and I finally got that. And that's when I clock in at work and I just get to it. I put my headphones on and I just go away. And then I've gotten a lot better, and I don't think I could have done it without any motivation from Ms. Blevins at all. And it's crazy. I see a lot of people that still talk about her every time and everything. I have one cousin that actually works with me, and she told me, hey, I just found out Ms. Blevins had cancer, and that wasn't that long ago, and I almost broke down. I'm not gonna lie, man. That's my favorite teacher, and she was the only one that ever had any sort of belief in what I could do, and I never felt like I had that, and she made that possible for me. And I've been here, for a long time, and one of the biggest things that I do aspire to want to do is, give back to my community in some ways. I want to draw things for my community and everything, like, kind of going off topic and everything too. But one of my favorite rappers that just recently passed away, and his name was Nipsey Hussle. And he always grinding, hustling, everything what he could do to get to the top. And I use that as well too to do a dedication piece to him. And I remember when I posted it on Facebook and everything too, and I told everyone, let's make this one go viral, and let's make it known and everything too. And I did it all just for the West Coast, everybody that's that's been supporting me and everything too. And I had gone in touch with Ms. Blevins not too long before that too, and I wished her nothing but blessings. I told her, I remember the one thing she told me too is that I made her day and that she's gonna fight it to the end. And I think that's the last thing that she taught us all, is to never give up on fighting everything, no matter what it is. And it's hard, just coming out here and everything too. I mean, seeing everybody out here, I'm sure there's a lot of different artists out here that she's taught and everything too, and it's amazing to see all that still going on. Even 10 years out of this place and everything, I always think about Ms. Blevins' class, man. Every time I just think about it every once in a while, and it's just something I'm never gonna forget. I started living by a philosophy that's called I always say artists never die. And I just took one last walk around the school right now, and I still see all the artwork that when I was still here, I still see a lot of the artwork that some of the students actually still put on here, man. And I don't know where a lot of those classmates are at right now or anything like that too, but that's kind of that definition of everything. We might perish one day, we might leave, in whatever shape or form we might leave this planet, man. But when artists work, man, we've still got everything going on. Her paintings are still there, so we live through all that now. She left us all that. And then it's crazy because I look up at the sky, man, and it's just all white right now. It's like a big canvas, and it's just like we're just waiting right now for her to paint us a big piece, one last one, and it's not going to be the last one. There's going to be plenty of pieces that she's going to put up there, man, and it's, that's all I'm going to do is when I look up, man, I'm going to be like, she's up there right now just painting, She ain't wasting no time. She's always been an amazing person. I know when I could go into her classroom that I could calm down, even if I just, got almost in a fight or did get in a fight. I could just go to her class and everything would just go away, man. My nerves, my anger, my fear, and just look at a piece of paper and I just start going at it. I still have my portfolio from when I did all my work there too, and we put all our work into it. I still have that, and it's crazy because I didn't think I would keep that much work, and it's just I'm glad I did, because now I can reflect on all that stuff because it was in her class. So, with that being said, I just want to thank her for being one of the first people to actually motivate me and actually believe that I can do more, and I hope that I make her proud right now. And It's just artists never die, man. If that's anything that I could leave this today or forever, whatever my last words could ever be on this. It's just artists never die. And just thank you, Miss Blevins.
Miss Blevins, you know, she was the only person, the only teacher to call me out for cheating. I remember being appalled. Miss Blevins, I get A+ in your class, girl. No, there's no way I'm cheating. Calls me out in front of class. She's like, I know you cheated on your final. There's no way you got an A+. I know you cheated on the final. I know Desiree cheated on the final. The whole class, no, not Desiree, no way. Looks over her little magazine and she tells me, did you not let your neighbors copy off of your test? Does that not count as cheating? And I'm like, oh my gosh, my senior year. And the last thing I'm going to take with me is Miss Blevins calling me out for cheating and helping my classmates, you know? So I always cherish that. She always found a way to single you out and make you feel important, make you feel special, even if it was in front of the whole class. Not to mention she always lost my artwork that she really, really liked. So that always raised some eyebrows with me too. Always ended up getting an A+ on those pieces. We could just never find them. So just take that with you guys. She was always such a great spirit. She was there for way too many of us to be sitting around crying. So let's just take that with us. We loved the point of the canvas being white and that being waiting for a final piece, man. Appreciate that. So it's great seeing all you guys' faces. Class of 2013, I see a whole bunch of y'all out there. It's so good to see you, but let's just leave today with smiles, guys. It's what she would want.
Excuse me, technical difficulties. Hi, everybody. My name is Emma Graff. I graduated in 2012. I had the greatest honor to have Miss Blevins for all 4 years. She saw me from a little bud of a freshman and bloom into a beautiful flower as a senior. She helped me through some really tart times in my life. When I lost my grandfather, my grades were slipping, I couldn't concentrate, and she told me, instead of dwelling on your sadness and letting it eat you alive, make it into an art piece, get it out of yourself, and then put it on a canvas. Make your grandfather proud, because he took good care of you, he raised you. Don't dishonor him by crying all the time and just being depressed and just sitting in a little loner corner like you always do. So I did exactly as she said. I put all my sadness into my art, and every year I would see her again, and she's like, oh no, you again? I just had you last year. I'm like, hey, it's me again. She's like, oh, all right, I guess I'm stuck with you. But I know she was just kidding. She was just such an amazing professor. I had the greatest honor of having her as my teacher all those years. She was just so good to me. She literally became my art mom. I remember senior year, every day we had to come in. We had these sketchbooks and we had to fill it out every day when we came in. And if you would leave like one little corner blank, she was like, oh, you got to do it again. I don't want to see any blank space. I'm like, it's only a couple centimeters. Like, I don't care. Put in a feather, a star, something. I don't want anything on this blank canvas. You have to fill it. Fill this canvas the same way you should fill your life. Fill it with experience and adventure, and never let any day go by without it being dull. You have to make sure you live life to the fullest. When I found out she passed, I didn't even know she was sick. It was just such a shock to me. I thought, Miss Blevins is gone? There's no way. Someone like her? But it just reminds me that you have to live every day to the fullest, because you never know when it might be your last. And as everyone keeps saying, Miss Blevins is going to be so furious if she finds us all over here crying. But you know what? I'm sensitive. She called me out for that every time when I was in class. I would cry. So you know what? I'm going to cry. There'll be happy tears and there'll be sad tears. So we should never forget what she taught us. I know I never will. It was thanks to one of her most beautiful references that I got accepted to the college of my dreams, and I will forever be thankful for that. I'll never forget her, and I can only hope that I can spread her message to the rest of the world, maybe to my kids, should I ever have any, to my other peers, to anybody else who ever needs more guidance. I would just think about her and just know. And I had the honor of having her daughter Asia in my sign language class. She's just a sweet girl, just so full of life, just like her mom. And I know she's going to get through this. If she's anything like her mom, and I know she is, she's a very strong person. Thank you.
I don't even know if I can reach the thing. Hi, I'm Brooklyn Vincent. I don't know if you know me, but hi. I'm going to make it short because I know that I'm going to cry by the middle of it, but I just want to thank everyone for being here. And I know a lot of you had her as a teacher, but I think she was more than just a teacher. She was a parent and a friend to more than just Asia, just all of you guys. She taught me a lot. And I think she put a lot of faith in everyone, especially the Pathway kids, and I know that she wanted to see them graduate, but she'll still be there. I remember she trusted me with glitter, and she didn't trust anyone with glitter in the class because it got everywhere, but she trusted me. There's just so much to say, and I could stand up here for hours and just talk about her, but I'm going to stop here, even though it's short. But just again, thank you everyone for coming. And I know that she wouldn't want any of us to be crying. She'd probably yell at you if you were crying because she just didn't like it. But thank you all just for being here and supporting everyone. And yeah. Hi, I'm Alexis. Well, was Prudhomme when I went here, now Sharp. Class of 2011. And I, like most of you guys, had Miss Blevins as a teacher. And in many ways, she was a teacher mom. You know, always there for you, putting up with you, even if you were a turd like I was all 4 years. And if you were that class of 2011, so I'm speaking for myself and on behalf of Crystal Thornton's family, I just contacted them to let them know about Miss Blevins and what had happened, and they wanted me to communicate their insane appreciation for Miss Blevins. So if you don't know, we had 2 students pass away during that year, right before graduation or within a year of that. And so it was hard. 16 years old and you have friends suddenly gone. I remember going to Miss Blevins' room and just being held and crying and dealing with all the emotions that come with loss at that age. And she was there. Just no questions asked, even if it was in the middle of class and you just needed a hug. That was Miss Blevins' job. And you knew that she felt that responsibility to her students. And after Crystal passed away, it was difficult, and quite a few of us were like, we got to do something, we got to make something happen. I remember counting coins in my parents' living room to try to get a scholarship started. And Miss Blevins took our, I think it was $60, $50 of coins and was like, okay, scholarship's happening. And that's just how she was. She put herself out there in so many ways to be there for her students. And we also founded Travel Club when we were in high school. If you guys don't know this, Miss Blevins was crazy enough to take 7 high school girls to Europe for a full week. None of us got lost or seriously injured, but luckily. But it was such a fun experience. It was so cool to see her outside of the classroom and just know that was her soul. She is that person. She is genuinely as welcoming and warm as she seemed in the classroom. Yeah, and she's a mentor, I think, for all of us. And now as a teacher, I have the insane honor of carrying on that legacy, making my classroom that warm environment for all the students that come in, you know, passing out hugs when needed and calling people out when needed as well. And so it's just really great to see everyone here, and I'm trying my best not to cry because I know Blevins
would not be happy about it. And I'm also going to be thinking twice about when my students act up, because I was such a turd to her for 4 years. I feel like that's going to be her otherworldly intervention, is having some kids be a turd to me as well.
So just like in high school, Alexis and I are conjoined at the hip, even as adults. I know Blevins because of Alexis. We went to Europe because of Alexis. I never actually had Miss Blevins as a teacher, but I spent more time in her classroom than probably I should have. But she let me. She knew that I was having a hard time, so she let me come and hang out with Alexis, as long as I didn't break ceiling tiles on a regular basis. I did break a ceiling tile.
It was a one-time deal.
Just once. But because through all of that and through all the BS that I gave her, she still loved me like I was one of her regular students. And I couldn't draw to save a life, but she still loved me anyway. So it's really sad to not have her here. She really was a just ray of sunshine with that bright hair. But yeah, she's gonna be really missed. Yeah.
I remember walking in her class the first day, like, I just knew she was going to be someone I could go talk to all the time. She was so nice. And, like, seeing that when I didn't have anywhere to go on my first day was really heartwarming. And I remember the second day of school, she came up to me and she was like, "Do you have your ID?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have my ID. I haven't used it, I just came to the school." And I remember she kept, like, scaring me, and, like, I had to go check, and I couldn't find it, and then I was in the office. And that really has no point, but, like, that was one of the first things I remember. And, like, one of the students was saying they got to take a trip to Europe. And I remember when she told us that, she took them, she wanted to bring us, and that was going to be our senior trip. So, like, if we would have had that, we would have probably been going to Europe this June. But unfortunately, she had to leave, and she went east for a while, and then Sierra Pacific here in her last year. And, when I found out on Thursday that she had passed away, I didn't really know what to do, and I didn't want to cry in front of people, so I just kind of kept it to myself. And I remember going home and opening up a sketchbook that she gave us where we just wrote memories, and I was just reading it, and the last thing she had written was that she wanted one of us to invite her to her graduation. And it hurt the most that I knew she wasn't going to be able to attend, because she was the first person here for me, and I wanted her to be the last person, at my graduation, get a picture with, the teacher that I loved most, and it hurts not having her here today. Yeah.
I'm Bryson Lane, and coming into the pathway was a really just nerve-wracking experience. The only person I knew coming into this was Cade, and no one else. It was a really good time to make a bunch of memories with a bunch of new people. Got to do a lot of fun trips. We've gone to LA, we went to UCLA, we went to San Francisco. It was just an overall great time. We had no idea who practically anyone was whenever we first started this, but by the end we're all super close with each other. We have all grown because Miss Blevins was the person who laid all of the groundwork for the pathway, let us all come together in this one little jumbled up mess of classes over these past few years that have changed so much. Just been a really good time overall.
Hi, my name is Cade Heck. Miss Blevins was one of my teachers that I could say I was friends with, which is kind of hard to say. But all I remember of her is one day sophomore year, we were studying about imperialization and just imperialization in general in the 1800s. And we had a project to do an art assignment on either it was Africa or India, the two main places. And I remember vividly the African Congo So whenever she said we had two options, I looked dead in her eyes and we stared at each other, and I asked, what about the Belgian Congo? The class was silent for about 10 seconds, and she said, that's in Africa, Cade. That same year, one of my friends, David LaCrue, left to Sierra Pacific, and freshman year, we always had this one song, Always Something There to Remind Me. And every time that song would come on for sophomore year, I'd look Blevins dead in the eye and we'd just stare at each other for a few seconds. And we'd remember David. And then I'd just go back to my work. But yeah, she's one of the greatest teachers I've ever had. She was one of my greatest art teachers, and one of my only. So yeah, that's about it for me.
Okay, so I was part of the Pathway program too, and Miss Blevins had a really big impact on my life. I wasn't sure what I was going to say when I came up here, but I wrote a letter to Miss Blevins because before, when we heard about her having cancer, we thought we could bring her together with the Pathway. Me and Sagoon were trying to plan a little get-together dinner where we could just tell her how thankful we are for her, and we could eat and just enjoy time together. But Blevins got really sick and we were running out of time, so we just figured we'd write her letters. And I'm gonna read the letter that I wrote to her. Dear Blevins, I wanted to write you a novel to tell you how grateful I am, but I cannot find the words to truly express. So I would just like to say thank you. Thank you for helping shape me into the person I am and will become. I cannot recall every word, every time your words or actions have changed my life for the better. If I was to do this letter will never end. For instance, that one time you lectured me. I remember this stern talking started for me being the student I was, not turning in another project or something. So I roughly quote what you said that day. Are you kidding me, Teresa? You're like lukewarm milk. People like cold milk and people like warm milk, but nobody likes lukewarm. You always give me lukewarm work ethic. Stop being nasty. At first, when you told me this, I thought that was rude and really weird. But now every time I think about this, when I'm not doing the best I can, when I start to get lazy, I think about this conversation and how I should not be lukewarm milk. It's truly remarkable how a brief discussion my freshman year has stuck with me my whole high school experience. That's just the kind of impact that you have on students. I'm sorry for the ignorance of my younger self, for never saying thank you for every act of kindness. And at a time of my academic career was going through the worst, you and Pathways saw that I was not just a bad, lazy student. You saw that I was a kid struggling, missing a part of confidence and a link of education. You made sure that I eventually found it, even through countless arguments, conversations, and tears. I never realized the good that you were trying to do earlier. Thank you, Blevins. I will be graduating high school and leaving for the Navy June 23rd. Sincerely, Teresa Guiniga. I don't know if Blevins ever got this letter, but I'm glad to say that here today, so hopefully she hears me. Blevins, you made a change in my life. I wasn't a good student at all. I probably wouldn't be graduating in 2 weeks, but because of you, you changed me. And I just want to say thank you for everything. Thank you for listening.
Hi everyone. I had the great honor of having Miss Blevins as a freshman at Hanford West. As an energetic, crazy kid, she really helped me use my energy to a good point, which she showed me through her leadership in the Pathway. She really inspired me to become a leader in the Pathway and a leader in other places in my life. where I saw there was potential because she saw potential in a bunch of lame art students at the end of the day. We really didn't have lots of a program going once she left, and I can really say, not to throw shade on the new teachers at all, because they've always tried their hardest and everyone has tried their hardest in the program, but she really was that like extra step to the program. She made the program happen. She got the principal to let us do fine art. She had us, she let us do different projects. She got us the grant. She did all this extra step. And finally now at the end of my junior year, I can see these new teachers taking that spot. But that gap that she left for the last 2 years can't be replaced at the end of the day. And I think it's something that I look to as I am finishing up, being a club leader and moving on to different leadership roles. I want to be that Blevins. I want to look at those different places where she looked and found potential, because so many people don't look at a blank canvas and see potential in the way that she did. And she saw that potential in me. And she told me her whack story and about her adoption. I told her I was going to go meet my mom. She talked about how horrible of an experience she had with her mom and meeting her. And to know that we share that common theme of having a really crappy ass background and being able to create something so beautiful after it and from it. I can't thank her enough for that, because she really inspired me to turn that ashes into a beautiful like art piece. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Emily from Sierra Pacific. I'm a sophomore, and I didn't really know Miss Blevins that well, but I do water polo and I do swim, and she always used to be active and go out to that kind of stuff. And at water polo, I always saw her there, and she'd always greet me even though I didn't know who she was. And one time I went to a swim meet and she was there, and she said, your name's Emily Phelps, like you're related to Michael Phelps? And I said, yeah, I am, actually. And she said, really? Oh my gosh, that's so interesting. Tell me all that. And I was like, well, I'm just kidding. Sorry, but yeah. And that was, she just sat there with me and she said, you're really good at swimming and you're really good at water polo, and I want you to strive for that goal, which is playing soon in college possibly, and getting faster and, competing with other girls that are as good as me, and just striving for goals like that. And she really taught me to be active like she was, and she really had a goal for Sierra Pacific also. And that really taught me to be a better person, truly. And with academics, she really had me strive for betterness. So.
Okay, so I'm gonna try not to cry because I'm really sensitive. But the juniors know this. Like when we were in her class, she was just doing her work, and she turns to us. She says, do you guys have any hot uncles that are single and would like to meet with me? And we're like, sadly, no, we don't have any rich uncles. Miss Blevins, no offense to my teacher's freshman year, but she was my favorite teacher. She was always there for me when I was going through a really hard time. And I never really got the chance to truly appreciate her for what she did for me. I don't want to think about the times that I should have appreciated her. I just want to think about the field trip we took to Monterey, where some of the juniors asked her, Miss Blevins, why are you so dressed up? And she replied you never know when you're going to meet your future husband. So I know that she was like everyone else said before us, that she's going to be really mad at us because we're crying. But it's just to remember her and remember all that she did for us here at West, at Hanford High, and Sierra. So, yeah. Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cheryl Silva. I'm the assistant superintendent here, actually, for another week, but although I am on vacation. I'm going to be retiring, and I've been with the district 30 years. And during those 30 years, a lot of people have come and gone. And then there's some people that come and stay in your lives. And I can truly say Ellice is one of those types of people. And one of the things, I'm going to start off with maybe a little lighthearted story. When I really got close to Ellice was when she came into administration. And in the last week in July, we take a few days and we go to Cambria and we spend one night, and we get there in the morning and we have breakfast, and then we go right into meetings. We have lunch, and then after lunch we get to check into the hotel that we're staying at. And it's at the Cambria Pines Lodge. So Bill gives out our room assignments and has our keys and everything. And we go to the cars because we came in Suburbans and loaded them up. And we get our luggage. And most of us have medium-sized bags on wheels. And we wheel to the room. And I look at Ellice and I'm like, "Where's your luggage?" She's got this purse-sized satchel on her shoulder. And she's like, "It's right here." And I'm like, that's your luggage? And she says, "Yeah, I've learned to travel light." And so she spent, and I think she was staying a few extra days. She was meeting some friends afterwards, so she didn't even ride home with us from that trip. But in the evening after the meetings, we all go to dinner together, and then we end up in this lounge area where there's a fireplace and some music, and usually Renee and I take some sort of games, cards, dice, something, and we teach everybody how to play something new. And we were teaching Ellice how to play this card game. I think it was 5 crowns. And it was, I don't remember who all was playing, but I know Bill was in the group. And we get through with the game, and Ellice is so excited because she won. And we're like, "You shouldn't beat the superintendent when you're brand new to administration." And so for the whole year, we got so much mileage out of that, because every time there was something negative that happened or she got called into the office, it was always because, she beat Bill at cards at the management retreat. Another thing that I wanted to share with you, which I hope I can get through, is that recently, due to my retirement, she had purchased a gift for me. And one of the things on her dying bed was she was concerned that I wasn't going to receive my gift. And so she made Asia promise that the next person that was coming back to Hanford would bring my gift to me. And so for about 12 years now, I've worn a penny ring. And it's in memory of my brother, Keith, who passed away. And it's a 1965 penny. And it's the year he was born. And most people know that story. They know this. Inevitably, I'm somewhere and someone asked me the story about the penny ring and what it represents. So Linda Brady graciously brought the retirement gift, and I opened it up, and the card said, "I thought of you when I saw this." And it is a penny bracelet. And ironically enough, the very first penny on the bracelet is a 1959 penny, which was the year I was born. And the theory of the penny is that when you find a penny, someone from heaven is sending thoughts your way or thinking of you. And that's stayed with me for the past 12 years with my penny ring. And I can't tell you how many times I will find a penny in the strangest place. Tonight, I'm sure many of you walked up and signed the book. like I can't. I wish I'd like to know how many did, just as a count, because I walked up, signed it, and on my way back down, at the base of the stairs, was this penny. And so I'm telling you that Ellice is here with us tonight. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I've been sitting over there for 30 minutes getting the strength to come up here, and kept telling myself, don't break down, don't break down. So I guess I needed to wait another 30 minutes. My name's Darren Parson. I'm currently the principal at Sierra Pacific, but I've been the principal here at Hanford West, an administrator at Hanford High, and a teacher here at Hanford West as well. Most of those stops, I've been fortunate enough to work with Ellice Blevins. And I'm going to tell a couple stories about her tonight, but I've heard strength. Everybody keeps talking about her strength. And I don't really know that she had a choice. For 12 years working across the hallway from Mr. Chambers. I see you back there, you old cuss. I know she really loved you, Bill, as much as a cuss as you were, and you did probably make her stronger. So I was fortunate enough to know Ellice in a lot of different capacities. I knew her as a fellow teacher. I knew her as the principal here at Hanford West when she was this amazing art teacher. I knew her as a fellow administrator for the last year. And I knew her as an incredibly fierce mama when I was principal to Asia her junior and senior year. And I think the toughest of all those things was being the principal of Asia, because Ellice would hold me to task on just about everything. I'd see her coming, and if it had to do with Asia or the school or an AP class or calculating valedictorian, whatever it was, she was going to hold me to task. And she always made me feel like, crap, here comes Ellice. I got to step up my game. And that continued on when she was fighting for the arts program here at Hanford West and for all the kids throughout our district. One of our colleagues, Clint Williamson, on Friday sent an email about what a fierce supporter of the arts that Ellice was. And believe me, we had plenty of knockdown dragouts in my office over there about the arts program. And when she started this pathway, and I want you students to know, she was that pathway. And she loved you students. I mean, she would fight tooth and nail with me. And I, again, had to feel like I had to step up my game. And then I got to know her as a fellow administrator this last year at Sierra Pacific. And when we found out in August, before the students even came back to school, that she'd had this, that was tough. It's been a really tough year. But again, that strength and just who she was as a person, she didn't want you to know that. And if her ankles were swelling or if she was tiring and needed to sit down, she wouldn't tell you. She'd just fight through it and radiate that positivity on those students and staff and her friends. But there's one thing that sticks out. There's plenty of things that stick out, but about 5 years ago here at Hanford West, the Tulare County Office of Education had come to us about starting, they were going to do an art project with students, and it was going to be based on the stigma of mental health. and it was called Restate Program. I see you there, Mr. Solis. And there was only one person that I knew could do this in our entire district, and we have plenty of fine teachers, but Ellice was the one that could capture what was supposed to happen. And there were classes that were being taught trying to, again, break that stigma of mental health and what it is and how to make people stronger.
And we wanted to teach kids that and then show that through art projects. And Ellice just grabbed a hold of it, like she did everything. And it was incredible. The things that the kids got out of that was just absolutely amazing. And she got a lot out of it, and I think we all did. And in particular, there was one young lady who had a note. It was a note about her instabilities and things that she was going to do to herself. And she had ripped it up, and she created an art project out of that note. And it was the most incredible thing. And Ellice just nurtured that the whole time. Just every one of those kids that had that personal experience with something that was going on in their lives, she was able through that art project to pull it out and to guide them and to nurture them. And those were her gifts. And so I'm going to leave on a funny note, I hope. So one of the weekends, and it was on the weekend, Ellice is down here on the weekend working with kids, and she calls me and says, I can't find my keys. And I said, you can't get into your classroom? No, I can't find my house keys. And I said, well, she goes, I can't get in my car, I can't. I said, okay, it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I said, I'll come down and we'll figure it out. I'm sure we'll find them. Well, we got over here, we couldn't find her keys. So she says, well, I have no way to get home, I have no way to get my car. I said, that's okay. I said, do you have a spare somewhere in your house? Possibly, and is there a way to get in your... Well, I do have a spare inside of the house, and I have a spare this and that. So we start driving to her house. Well, she's like, well, I don't know how we're going to get in here. I said, do you have a garage door opener thing? And she goes, yeah, I do, but I don't know the combination. So she texts Asia. Asia doesn't know the combination. These are two intelligent women, but they don't know how to get in their garage. So we're there looking around and thinking maybe there's a window that's unlocked. So we start searching the windows. There's no windows that are unlocked. She says, just break it. Just break it. I said, Ellice, look, I'm from Long Beach. I know how to get into things that I don't have a key for. And she thought that was the funniest thing. We got in the house and we didn't break a window. But she would remind me of that all the time. And so I do know, spending this last year pretty closely to her, I knew that she was in a lot of pain. I know she was in a lot of pain at the end, but the night before she went in the hospital, she was helping supervise the prom. And that's just who she was. She was going to give us what she had. And so, I'm going to miss my friend. And all she does.
You know, it's interesting, Darren, because I think I was here with you for some reason, but I remember Elise contacting you and the story of couldn't find her keys, and I remember that whole, and as I stood here tonight, I thought, you know, I'd like to get up and talk about that story, so I'm glad you told that story, but what it really reminded me of was, you know, what a family we are, and it didn't matter who you were, but we just, you know, that's how we are as family. You know, Dare says, hey, we'll take care of that. You know, he gets her in the car and drives her across town and does whatever needs to be done. But I also, you know, there was two things that came to my mind as I listened to students and adults alike talk, and one was the strength. And I too came here about 9 years ago as a teacher, taught almost across the hall from her, just next door to Mr. Chambers. So. But I always remember, you know, when the bell would ring, she would be standing in the door every day, every class period, greeting students, and just the most pleasant individual to talk to. And there was a steadfastness about her, and I know it had a lot to do with the hardships she had suffered in life. She had learned to become steadfast in whatever she did. What a great lady. So I did teach with her. When I went into administration, she was still teaching here. Got to interact with her quite a bit through that process, but just an amazing woman, and then work with her as a co-administrator as well. So I just wanted to say that she is truly missed.
We were talking earlier, and for some of the things that came to mind about Elise is I'm going to miss her wit. I'm going to miss her sass. That was a sassy woman. I'm going to miss her impeccable dress. She's always like, Barnes, why don't you stand next to me in a picture? I go, look at you, look at me. Ain't going to happen, because she was always dressed, you know, whether it was jeans and a t-shirt. I think she probably ironed everything. And I remember we were somewhere sometime, and I thought, gosh, such a classy lady, and she is. But the first time I heard her cuss, I was like, I was kind of shocked. And she was using the F word, and it was regards to somebody with the first name of B, but there's several of you with the first name of B she could have been referring to, so I'm not going to take a guess, but there's at least 3 of you that were here, so it was one of you. But what everybody said is so true. Her heart for her students, her passion. I remember being in Darren's office a few times, seeing Elise with that walk. I said, okay, see you later, bye. And you're on your own. And he'd just be like, aren't you going to stay? I said, I didn't do anything. It's on you. But she is very important. And, you know, she has a stamp that she's going to leave here in our district. And, you know, we all the other day took a picture by room 551. And, you know, it's just going to be not the same not seeing her and her smile. And that laugh. She had a great laugh.
Hi, I'm Taylor Champlin. I'm finishing up my 2nd year here at Hanford West, so unfortunately I did not get the privilege to know Ellice Blevins like everybody else here has spoken so far. I did meet her one time at Lush. We shared a glass of wine over some good conversation, and I was like, wow, I wish she was still at Hanford West. She was amazing and sweet, and I wanted to talk to her. I don't go out much, and I was really happy to be seated next to Ellice with the rest of my math teachers here and their families. But from what I've seen, God, I can only hope to be half the teacher she is throughout the rest of my career, or she was. And God, she was so loved, just from seeing my math family and how Hanford West rallied together so fast and how everybody was updated on her condition. I felt like I knew her much more than I actually did. So yeah, thank you for showing me how great of a teacher she was and how great of a teacher we can all aspire to be.
Hi, my name is Victor Rosa, and I'm new to this group, but I'm not new to Ellice. Ellice and I actually went to school together and became teachers together, so run on close to 20 years of knowing her. And I remember walking into the first class with her and just thinking how beautiful of a woman she was. Just physically beautiful. And then as I got to know her, I got to know just really how beautiful she was. Such an amazing, amazing person. One of the first people I ever felt comfortable with to tell my story, and she was just loving and open and accepting. I spent a lot of time with her in those last many years, just seeing the amazing teacher she became, pushing her to become an administrator. I kept telling her, it's time, you're going to be amazing at this. And I'm not sure that she ever really listened to me, but she listened to someone because she did it. I got to see her in the hospital, and of course, right off the bat, she was inappropriate. I was in there, and her heart rate fluctuated, and the nurse had to come in, and Asia was there with us. The nurse came in and said, I got to check your heart rate. And I had just come from the gym, and she looked at me and she goes, well, look at him. He's in his tight shirt. He's just hot. And I thought, yeah, right. But Asia said, oh my God, Mom, that's your new boss. And she said, he's not my boss yet. And that's exactly the way I remember her. But more importantly, she told me something. She said, she was so excited for the future. And she said, I just want to be there long enough to work with you for a while. And I told her she would. And I want everything that I do in my future and in this district to be in honor of her and what she expected and what she wanted. And the people who are going to make that happen are right out here with me. So to honor her, everything she did for students, everything she did for staff, as tough as she was on administrators, I admire all of that and ask all of you to just follow in her lead. If we could be half of what Ellice was, we would all be amazing, amazing people. Thank you.
We sat in 2-hour traffic in the mountains to make sure we came here to just pay respect and honor just her legacy. Just my nephew is great friends with our daughter, and my daughter was a teammate with her child, and she was like a second mom for my kids when, if I couldn't get a game or anything like that at all. And we needed to be here just because the staff at this school and the bond at this school is probably no other that I've ever seen or found anywhere else. And we just felt like we needed to be here just to say what an honor it was to be able to work with her and work with others. And when I saw you guys take your photo in front of our door, it's bittersweet. And it's just beautiful to see people come and pay their respect and send their love to her and share what great people we are. We all are, just in knowing her and knowing each other and just having that memory and that legacy. I just felt like we needed to be here just to share our love. So we made that trip, and we appreciate you guys all, and she'll forever be a light. I remember seeing her in December the last time I came up here, and was like, wow, you're an administrator, this is really cool, and rode around on the cart with her, and it just was a pleasant and beautiful memory for me to be able to keep and hold with me. So I just wanted to come up and say something.
I'm Bill Fishbowl, Superintendent. I want to set a couple things straight. First of all, Cheryl's comment about beating me at cards. She wasn't that worried about it. In fact, she was kind of giddy about it the entire time we played, and rubbed it in. So all the times that she might have been called in, she was in trouble. Yeah, she didn't buy it because that was her. That was her. You know, every time I walked into Ellice's classroom, things were happening. Kids were engaged, they were working, they were enjoying themselves, and they were doing good work. And so when time came and she got her administrative credential, I knew who the person was who needed to touch more lives than just she could touch in one classroom. And Ellice did that. When she got out of the classroom and she was at Hanford High School, she touched a lot of lives. She changed the culture of that school. And people looked up to her. So when that's his learning director in 1 year, and the next year a assistant principal job opened up in Sierra Pacific, and I knew who the person was who needed to be there. And again, as you heard tonight, how many lives she touched. And sometimes she touched them on a golf cart driving around at a swim meet or wherever. And you always knew that if you were around Ellice, she was gonna call you out and make you feel special. He did that to kids and to staff and to the superintendent and everyone. Darren was actually pretty good when he came up, because I know it takes him a long time to muster the energy to come up and the guts to do that. Cheryl shared that Linda brought us a gift. She brought my retirement gift, as I'm retiring this year, and she sat on the table, and about 10 minutes after she left, Darren called me after he left the hospital, and we started talking, and that was that we were probably the two largest guys you've ever met, babbling on the phone to one another about the situation, and there were a lot of tears, and I brought that gift home, and what Ellice bought me is, she knows I'm quite fond and go on ad nauseum about my horses, and so she brought me as my retirement gift a beautifully framed from a museum, the first a duplicate of the first pictures taken of a horse actually moving, and it was the start of what created motion pictures, because they were talking about, does the horse leave the ground when it runs or doesn't. So she wrote the entire story of that on one side of the card and gave me that picture. But it took me a day or so before I could open it. It was just too hard to do at the time, so I had to bring it home, and I had to set it on the counter, and I had to wait a while till I could get up the gumption, and at that time it was still really hard to do, because people like Ellice don't come around very often, and we have to cherish them, and again, I think her legacy is the people that are here, and what you'll bring forward with you, and as you think about Ellice and to think about her life and her legacy. So again, thank you everybody for coming and showing up for Ellice.
Nobody has to leave. You're still welcome to stay and talk. I know it's starting to get a little cold, but we're gonna be around for a little while still and play some music and wait for the luminaries to actually illuminate. But again, we know that Ellice is. We know she's smiling, but we also know she's like, all right, you guys, but that's okay. But again, we'll be here. People can, like I said, there's no formal thing here. People still want to come to talk. We'll play some music, whatever.
Just want to say thank you again, and I wanted to have balloons tonight to set them up, but Ruben said no because that's an environmental problem, and Ellice would be upset about that. So just hands up, Ellice. We love you. Thank you for being part of our lives, and we're gonna miss you more than we can say. And prayers for Asia, please continue.